All right, with that, let's get to waiver wire and talk about the quarterbacks right at the top here. As we look at Tyler Shough is our number one name to know. These are the quarterbacks since week 14. So over the last 4 weeks in points per game, no surprise, Brock Purdy and Trevor Lawrence have been on an absolute heater. Drake May, who's in line potentially to win the MVP, third. But Tyler Shough is maybe the surprise name for many outside of Malik Willis in this spot, 8th, 19.6 fantasy points. You got to hear from Tyler Shough on just proving himself and maybe for the future of this team as well.
I'm trying to constantly prove myself right as far as my own self-belief and hold myself to a high standard. And the ultimate goal is to win and come together as a team, and I feel like we've been able to do that. And how do we keep replicating it? So for me, that's my constant goal. And everything else that comes with it is part of it. And I love playing with these guys. I feel like we could play a whole nother season right now. And we got a really good opponent that we got to finish out.
Tyler Shough, 79% available. Matthew, model of consistency in fantasy for Shough. 5 straight games with 17-plus points, as we showed since week 13. He's QB8. So this is somebody that you've been able to stream and rely on if necessary.
Yeah, I mean, they just seem to be able to get it done. Credit to Kellen Moore, credit to Tyler Shough. We've talked about this. I think Tyler Shough will be the inspiration of a number of fantasy team names next year. Shough you, Connor. Let's Shough and go. And many, many others. But back-to-back games now with over 300 yards passing. He gives you some with his legs, right? Generally speaking as well. You're not scared of despite what happened last night, you're not scared of the matchup on against Atlanta, who now has to play on a short week as well. And Jay, Tyler Shough, from everything I can see, I think he's the betting favorite to be Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, so Tirico and McMillan has since overtaken Shough, but it is those two neck and neck. I suspect Tirico and McMillan is
I should say I think he should be.
Okay.
How about that? I think he should be Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, certainly you can make that case. I think there's a lot to be said for quarterback value.
Like birthday boy, Tyler Shough.
Birthday boy, Tyler Shough. Yeah, like 9 games of solid quarterback play is potentially more valuable than 17 games of being the 16th best receiver in football. That would be the case for Shough. I think Tirico and McMillan is still going to win because voters value the full season, but there's no doubting, Connor, that Shough, just watch him with the eye test. He's making next level throws, next level plays, his ability to create outside of structure, his willingness to push the ball down the field. He looks like the quarterback of the future.
He really does. The Saints have to be thrilled finding your potential franchise quarterback in the second round. He fits what Kellen Moore wants to do. He can play in structure and timing, like you said, Jay. And I think the most important thing from a fantasy perspective, but it's also very important to the Saints, Matthew, is how effectively he gets the ball to Cris Olave at all 3 levels of the field, but really the deep ball as well, which we know Olave is great with. There's been a noticeable upgrade since Shough started under center this season.
Yeah, Tyler Shough understands the assignment. Like, what does a young quarterback look for? Somebody that can catch the ball. And so Shough has a little bit of, pardon the pun, but Shough does have a little bit of Shough it. Olave's down there somewhere, and he will, in fact, throw it. You would think the loss of Rashid Shaheed would have hurt Tyler Shough's fantasy value, but that's not been the case. Whether it's Juwan Johnson, whether it's Audric Estime out of the backfield, like different guys, like, hey, let's throw to Mason Tipton. Okay, fine. There's not a lot of talent in New Orleans outside of Cris Olave and, of course, fan favorite Juwan Johnson. But Tyler Shough has managed to get it done. Again, fantasy points with his arm and his leg. He, as you showed there with the next-gen stats, he'll throw at all 3 levels. Kellen Moore has done an unbelievable job, I think, with this offense, with Shough's development specifically, and, again, not scared about the matchup at Atlanta. So, because they'll Shough it around.
Yep. Before we move on, Connor, who would you rather have as your franchise quarterback, Tyler Shough or Cam Ward?
Still Cam. You just have to be careful. And Cam has been really good for a couple weeks now. I think he's thrown 8 touchdowns in his last 4 games. And his situation compared to Shough. I know we didn't have big expectations for the Saints, but they still have a star receiver, a head coach that's probably a lot better than anyone gives him credit for. Yep. Their defense is competitive, putting him in better spots. Kelvin Banks has been great on their offensive line. But the fact that the combo is fair says a lot about what Shough has done. Right now. That's like what's amazing is that you have the combo Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Tyler Shough, and you're like, man, for a class that wasn't loved by the NFL, might have a couple starting quarterbacks out of it.
Saints might be the favorites to win that division next year, honestly, because they've got the best defense in the division, and arguably they have the best quarterback in that division, depending on Baker Mayfield bouncing back health-wise.
Jay Croucher, I would say this: if somehow the season got extended 4 more games, I think the Saints would win the division this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Honestly,
the way they've been playing,
Yeah, the way they're playing and the way the Panthers and Buccaneers keep trending downward. The other thing that I will say, the last thing, and then we move on to our next quarterback here. But again, I'm not throwing a stone in a glass house, because if somebody who makes, a bunch of predictions every single day, if somebody went on the Tonight Show and said he was worried about James Cook this year, I mean, again, we've all made bad predictions, but I will say it is funny in retrospect to go back and look at some of the draft pundits who were beside themselves when Tyler Shough was taken ahead of Shedeur Sanders. They could not believe it, and now Tyler Shough has a legitimate shot. Maybe he won't, Jay, but he has a legitimate shot at winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, and people were beside themselves that how dare the Saints take Tyler Shough ahead of Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah. Overreactions with Shedeur Sanders, unbelievable.
Yeah, if he doesn't win, he'll finish second in Offensive Rookie of the Year. So a great season for Tyler Shough.
Says everything in the small sample size. Another guy, small sample size, but give it a couple months, he's about to be one of the richest free agents in all of football, and that's Malik Willis. He's 98% available right now. We have said we think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL next year, so he'll get a nice contract from somebody to do that. But what you care about right now is you look at Week 17 before he got hurt, over 31 fantasy points, Jay, and this wasn't just one game. You look at the 3 starts he's made over the last 2 seasons for the Packers, he's had over 23 fantasy points, especially with the rushing element.
Yeah, so his game is obviously translates incredibly well to fantasy. You said, Connor, yesterday you think there's a reasonable chance he's a top 10 fantasy quarterback next year because of the rushing value that he adds. How much do you think that he is a product of Matt LaFleur's system? Because Willis, whenever he plays, Jordan Love, whatever, they all hyper efficient EPA gods in terms of the efficiency they put up. How much do you think it's LaFleur and how much do you think it's Willis?
I think it's giving him.
Before you answer that, hey Connor.
Yeah.
Connor, before you answer that, I want to add more to Jay's question, because I think that's a really important question, because the development of Malik Willis has been something that's fascinating to me as well, because I remember him drafted out of Liberty. People were like, I'm not sure this guy is an NFL quarterback. We get the skill set, but is this guy somebody that can translate to the next level? And when he played for Tennessee, he looked lost. I mean, he just looked like, okay, this is, small school quarterback, has no business in the NFL, goes to Green Bay and, to your point, is now going to be a very rich man, has kind of reclamated his career. And so as we talk about sort of the transformation of Brock Purdy, the transformation of Josh Allen, I think Malik Willis quietly is on that same sort of path of so I'd love for you to talk. I know Jay asked you specifically about LaFleur's system, but I would love for you to just talk about how you scouted him as a quarterback out of Liberty, at a small school Liberty, and then, now to being the starting quarterback of the Packers in Week 18.
He was my 33rd overall player in that draft, and he went a lot later than that. So for me, and that's because when I put a quarterback outside the first round, but right at the top there, it's your tools, right? You're betting on tools. And sometimes it takes a while or you're disappointed. Like you look at Will Levis, he's been that guy before. Other times it's Malik Willis, where if you're reacting in the first year or two, you're doing the process wrong, because it's all about development. Malik Willis, really fast, rocket arm, not the biggest guy, but in terms of NFL processing and playing in a drop back structure, he's going to need time. And when you go to LaFleur, I think to answer your question, Jay, LaFleur has given Malik Willis a floor as a passer. But the running has always given him this ceiling and this element where it's like, okay, nothing's there. Now I can take off and make somebody miss. Not just run, but make somebody miss. But the thing with Malik Willis that I absolutely love is he could throw the ball down the field. Like, he's got a strong arm. He's got that snappy motion where he can get the ball out quickly. So this is somebody that I really valued in a draft that the NFL did not love the quarterbacks in that draft, and I get it. It hasn't worked out for Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, guys like that. But top 35 player for me. You bet on traits with quarterbacks, and when you bet on traits with quarterbacks, you have to understand that, like, its situation matters a lot. We saw where situation failed him, and then we've now seen where it's helped him. It's going to be fascinating to see the next landing spot, and he'll be selective.
Yep.
But I'm a big believer in Malik Willis, not as a stopgap or a fill-in starter, but as an NFL starting quarterback.
Yeah, I remember when he was in Tennessee, it just felt like when he did get an opportunity that they were just so conservative with him. And
Scared to let him throw.
Yeah, okay, we're going to run the ball on the first 2 downs, and we have to throw on 3rd down.
The worst thing you could do.
And then it was like, there was this one Sunday night football game, I think against the Chiefs, where it was very clear that, you know, it's kind of like how D'Amico Ryans and the Texans do it a little bit, where it's like, we're just going to lean on our defense and we will make throws only when we have to.
Right.
Whereas LaFleur is like, no, you're a real quarterback. You're going to make all the throws, or at least a lot of the throws that Jordan Love makes, and have a lot of the options that Love has in this offense. To your point, some of the down the field throws, some of the accuracy on the deep balls, particularly against the Bears, that touchdown down the left sideline, like, he is making next level throws. Like, the Packers, I don't think the Packers have punted in 2 weeks. It's been a very efficient on the rails offense, even with Malik Willis.
This one from Mick Genuine, Malik Willis to Arizona, definitely one of the teams that I think would be interested in him. Arizona, before any cuts, has almost $40 million in cap space next year, so they have the money to go do it. They're going to need a starter. We're assuming the Kyler Murray era is over in Arizona. We'll see if there's a new regime, which would matter a lot as well, but I don't think it's the craziest take. And if that happened, we would be really excited about Malik Willis in fantasy, because they have some pieces on the offensive line. They have some pieces at pass catcher, and multiple pieces at pass catcher. And the most important thing is, Matthew, he would actually play, which has been the most important thing at the end of this season.
For sure. And the only reason why we don't have him above Tyler Shough as a waiver target for this year for leagues playing in Week 18 is you see the schedule right there. We prefer Shough at Atlanta versus Malik Willis going on the road at Minnesota. Others receiving votes. We know Bryce Young's going to play the whole game at Tampa Bay in that pass funnel defense. Panthers need this win to get into the playoffs, unless, of course, Atlanta can take care of business. Cam Ward at Jacksonville, no reason why he wouldn't play. And right now, we'll see how it progresses over the end of the week, but we expect Lamar Jackson not to play Sunday night, and Snoop Huntley to once again get the start against the Steelers on Sunday Night Football and the company man, as the Ravens and Steelers play for the NFC North. Win or go home. That is what's happening there. The last thing I'll say on Malik Willis here, just to wrap up this conversation, Connor, when you talk about, you know, a tools guy that is clearly a developmental project, there's a lot of tools, fast with a big arm, but obviously needs some seasoning. And that's what he got in Green Bay, where he didn't get in Tennessee. Boy, oh boy, would I love to see Anthony Richardson go spend a year with Matt LaFleur sitting behind Jordan Love. You know what I mean? You just sort of, you know, when you think about Trey Lance, think about Anthony Richardson, some of these other guys that, again, similar to Malik Willis, really toolsy, undeveloped players that just need right structure and system. I mean, you know, I think the Colts have screwed up Richardson 6 ways till Sunday and needs a fresh start there, but, like, still believe, obviously, in that kid's tools. And Trey Lance, I think the jury's still out there as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would be a great fit for a guy that just really needs to sit and kind of maybe watch in the right system for a little bit now. So the deeper league targets, yeah, I mean, you saw the list there. No Justin Herbert and Phillip Rivers this week as well, Jay.
Yeah, Riley Leonard, even though he can run around a little bit in theory, going up against the Texans defense in a game the Texans want to win.
Not good.
You can probably do better elsewhere. Trey Lance as well, going up against the Broncos defense, not
almost the same
particularly
situation.
Appealing. Yeah. Basically the same thing. With Tyler Huntley, is an interesting one because if he does play, then we saw the rushing value. We see his potential value as a streamer, but the Ravens in that one are 3.5-point favorites. So the market on the road in Pittsburgh at Matthew's favorite stadium in the NFL, Acrisure Stadium. So I think that there is some chance still that Lamar Jackson gives it a go, clearly. So that is just one to monitor.
Feels like if Lamar was ruled out, that's at least down to 2.5, right?
I think the Steelers would be slight favorites.
Okay, so this line is assuming he's playing at the moment.
I think so, but
he's got to do everything to play.
Yeah,
like this is what it's all for.
It's just like all the reporting always around Lamar. The report is he's got a back bruise 2 weeks ago. Like, that doesn't do him any favors in terms of his reputation coming out. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there, but there is a material chance Lamar plays clearly.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.